Opening hook. Have you ever looked at the world and felt that something about it does not make sense? A silent lake that can kill an entire village. A volcano that creates its own lightning. A creature that may be able to reverse its own age. A place in the ocean where life exists without sunlight. A forest that swallows sound. A human brain that can create memories of things that never happened. The world is full of questions. Small questions, strange questions. Questions that sound childish at first, but become terrifying when you hear the answer. Tonight, we are not just asking, why? We are walking into the hidden side of reality, the side that science has explained, but somehow still feels like magic. So turn down the lights, listen closely, and prepare to discover the strange answers behind some of the most mysterious questions on Earth. This is 10,000 Why Questions. Episode 1. Why does the world hide so many impossible things? Question 1. Why can a lake kill without making a sound? Imagine a village at night. People are sleeping. Animals are resting. The lake nearby is perfectly calm. No storm, no explosion, no fire, no warning. Then something invisible begins to move across the ground. A cloud with no color, no smell, no sound. It rolls down from the lake and enters the village. And by morning, hundreds of people are gone. This sounds like a horror story, but it happened in the real world. Some volcanic lakes can collect huge amounts of carbon dioxide deep under the water. The gas stays trapped because the pressure at the bottom of the lake is extremely high. But if something disturbs the lake, a landslide, an earthquake, or even a sudden change in temperature, that trapped gas can rise very quickly, like opening a giant bottle of soda. Only this bottle is a lake, and instead of bubbles, it releases a deadly cloud. Carbon dioxide is heavier than normal air. So it does not simply float away, it sinks. It flows along the ground. It enters valleys, homes, and farms. And because it pushes oxygen away, people and animals can suffocate before they even understand what is happening. That is the terrifying part. The lake does not need teeth. It does not need waves. It does not need fire. It only needs silence, pressure, and time. So the next time you see a beautiful lake sitting quietly between mountains, remember this. Sometimes the most dangerous things in nature do not roar. They wait. Question 2. Why can the volcano create lightning? When we think of lightning, we usually imagine storm clouds, rain, wind, thunder. But sometimes lightning appears inside a volcano. A mountain of fire erupts. Ash shoots into the sky. Lava glows red in the darkness. And suddenly, the black cloud above the volcano begins flashing with violent blue light. It looks like the earth is angry. But why does it happen? The answer begins inside the ash cloud. During a powerful eruption, tiny fragments of rock, ash, ice, and gas are blasted upward at incredible speed. These particles crash into each other again and again. Every collision can separate electrical charge. Some particles become positively charged. Others become negatively charged. And when the difference becomes strong enough, the sky tries to balance itself. That balance becomes lightning. A volcanic lightning storm is sometimes called a dirty thunderstorm, and that name is perfect because it is not made from clean white clouds. It is made from ash, rock, steam, heat, and chaos. The frightening thing is that volcanic lightning can also tell scientists something important. It can reveal how powerful the eruption is. A bigger ash plume may create more electrical activity. So, in a strange way, lightning becomes a warning signal. Nature writes danger in the sky, not with words, but with fire. Question 3. Why does a glacier sound like thunder when it breaks? A glacier looks slow, huge, frozen, silent. But a glacier is not dead. It is moving very slowly but constantly. Ice presses against ice. Deep cracks form inside it. Water melts underneath it. Gravity pulls it forward. Then suddenly a wall of ice breaks away and crashes into the ocean. The sound is enormous. like thunder, like an explosion, like a mountain splitting in half. But why is it so loud? Because a glacier is not just a piece of ice. It is millions, sometimes billions of tons of frozen pressure. When a section collapses, all that stored force is released at once. The ice breaks, the air shakes, the ocean rises, and the sound travels across the landscape like a warning from another age. Scientists call this process calving, but the word feels too small. Because when you stand near a collapsing glacier, it does not feel like a simple natural process. It feels like watching the planet change in front of your eyes. A glacier can spend centuries growing and only seconds falling. That is why the sound is so powerful. It is not just ice breaking, it is time breaking. 8:40 to 11. Question 4. Why is the ocean blue? This question sounds simple, almost too simple. A child might ask it while looking at the sea. Why is the ocean blue? Many people answer, because it reflects the sky. And sometimes, yes, the sky can affect the color we see, but that is not the full answer. The real reason is hidden in light itself. Sunlight looks white to us, but it contains many colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. When sunlight enters water, the water absorbs colors from the red part of the spectrum more strongly. Blue light travels farther through the water, so when we look at deep ocean water, more blue light reaches our eyes. That is why the sea often appears blue. But the ocean can also look green, gray, black, or even red. Tiny particles, algae, sand, depth, clouds, and the angle of sunlight can all change its color. So the ocean is not just blue. It is a mirror, a filter, a living painting, and every color tells a different story. A bright turquoise sea may be shallow and full of white sand. A dark blue ocean may be deep and open. A green sea may be full of microscopic life, and a black ocean at night may hide more living creatures than a rainforest. The sea is not one color. It is a question that changes every time the light touches it. Question 5. Why do some creatures glow in the dark? Deep in the ocean, sunlight disappears. At first, the water becomes darker, then blue, then black. Go deep enough and there is no day, no sunrise, no sunset, only pressure, cold, and darkness. But in that darkness, life begins to glow. Tiny flashes, blue sparks, green trails, living lanterns moving through the water. This is called bioluminescence. It happens when living organisms produce light through chemical reactions inside their bodies. But why would a creature need to glow? The answer depends on the creature. Some use light to attract prey. A deep-sea anglerfish carries a glowing lure in front of its mouth. Smaller fish see the light and swim closer. They think they are finding food. Instead, they become food. Other animals use light to confuse predators. A sudden flash in the dark can shock an attacker just long enough to escape. Some use glowing patterns to recognize mates. Others use light as camouflage. That sounds impossible, but in the deep ocean, faint light from above can reveal a creature's silhouette. So, some animals glow from underneath to match the light coming down from the surface. They become almost invisible. In the deep sea, light is not just beauty, it is language. It is a weapon. It is a disguise. And sometimes it is a trap. Question 6. Why can life exist without sunlight? For a long time, people believed almost all life depended on the sun. Plants use sunlight. Animals eat plants. Other animals eat those animals. So the sun seemed like the beginning of every food chain. But then scientists explored the deep ocean and found something astonishing. They discovered entire communities of life near hydrothermal vents. These vents are cracks in the seafloor where extremely hot mineral-rich water pours out from inside the earth. There is no sunlight down there, no green plants, no photosynthesis. And yet, life is everywhere. Giant tube worms, crabs, shrimp, bacteria, strange creatures living around underwater chimneys that look like alien cities. So, where does the energy come from? Not from sunlight, from chemistry. Some bacteria can use chemicals from the vent water to create energy. This process is called chemosynthesis, and once bacteria can survive, other creatures can feed on them. Then larger animals feed on those creatures. A whole ecosystem rises from darkness. This changed the way humans think about life. Because if life can survive at the bottom of Earth's ocean without sunlight, then maybe life could survive in dark oceans on other worlds too, under the ice of distant moons, inside hidden seas, far away from the sun. That means one of the strangest places on Earth may also be a clue to life beyond Earth. Question 7. Why do we get goosebumps? You hear a sound in the dark, a door creaks, a whisper moves behind you, or maybe you hear a powerful song, and suddenly tiny bumps rise on your skin. Why? Goosebumps are an ancient survival reflex. Long before humans wore jackets and lived in houses, our ancestors had much more body hair. When they were cold, tiny muscles pulled the hairs upright. This trapped a layer of warm air near the skin. When they were scared, the same reaction made them look bigger. Many animals still do this. A frightened cat raises its fur. A bird fluffs its feathers. A porcupine lifts its quills. Humans do it too. But because we have less body hair now, the effect looks small, just little bumps on the skin. But those bumps are a message from the past. Your body is saying, pay attention, something important is happening. It could be danger. It could be beauty. It could be emotion so strong that your nervous system reacts like it is standing at the edge of survival. That is why music can give you goosebumps. Your brain is not just hearing sound, it is feeling meaning. Question 8. Why do we dream? Every night we disappear into another world, a world where people from our past return, where places combine in impossible ways, where we can fly, fall, run, hide, lose teeth, meet strangers, or speak to someone who is no longer alive. Dreams feel random, but they may not be meaningless. Scientists still debate exactly why we dream, but several ideas are powerful. One idea is that dreams help the brain process memories. During sleep, your brain reviews pieces of your day, connects them with older memories, and stores what matters. Another idea is that dreams help us practice emotion, fear, loss, desire, embarrassment, hope. A dream can feel like a private theater where the mind rehearses difficult feelings. Some researchers believe dreams may help us simulate threats. In ancient times, dreaming about danger could have helped the brain prepare for real danger. But there is something even stranger. In dreams, the brain can create an entire world and then convince itself that the world is real. A city that never existed, a face you cannot remember seeing, a conversation that feels meaningful, a sky with 2 moons, and while you are dreaming, you usually do not question it. That means every night your brain proves something incredible. Reality is not only what your eyes see, reality is also what your mind can build. Question 9. Why do we feel déjà vu? You walk into a room, you hear someone say a sentence, you see sunlight hitting the wall, and suddenly, you feel it. I have been here before, but you know you have not. That strange feeling is called déjà vu. The phrase means already seen. It is one of the most mysterious common experiences of the human brain. So, why does it happen? There is no single final answer, but one strong explanation is that déjà vu may be connected to memory processing. Your brain is constantly deciding whether something feels new or familiar. Most of the time, this system works quietly, but sometimes there may be a tiny mismatch. A new experience accidentally triggers a feeling of familiarity. So your brain says, this is familiar, but another part of your brain says, no, this is new. That conflict creates the eerie feeling, like a memory without a source, like a shadow of something that never happened. Déjà vu feels supernatural because it arrives suddenly and disappears quickly, but it may simply be your brain catching itself in a tiny error, a glitch in the machinery of memory. And for one brief second, you feel like time has folded. Question 10. Why is space silent? In movies, space battles are loud. Ships explode with thunder. Lasers scream. Planets crack open with a roar. But real space is different. Real space is almost silent. Why? Because sound needs something to travel through. On Earth, sound moves by vibrating air molecules. When you clap your hands, you push the air. That vibration travels to someone's ear. But space is mostly vacuum. There are not enough particles close together to carry sound the way air does. So, if an explosion happened in space, you might see the light. You might feel the radiation or debris if you were close enough. But you would not hear a cinematic boom. That silence is hard to imagine, because on Earth, sound is always with us. Wind, footsteps, engines, rain, voices. Even when we think a place is quiet, there is still something. But in space, silence is not just quiet, it is complete. A silence so deep that it makes the universe feel both peaceful and terrifying. The stars may look like they are singing, but between them, there is almost no sound at all. Question 11. Why does the immortal jellyfish seem to escape death? Some creatures run from death, some hide from death, some fight death. But one tiny jellyfish appears to do something stranger. It may reverse its life cycle. This creature is often called the immortal jellyfish. Its scientific name is Turritopsis dohrani. When injured, starving, or stressed, it can transform its adult cells and return to an earlier stage of life. Imagine a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, or an old tree becoming a seed again. That is not exactly what happens, but it gives you the feeling of how strange this ability is. Does that mean the jellyfish truly cannot die? No. It can still be eaten. It can still be killed by disease. It can still die from the environment. But biologically, it has a process that may allow it to escape ordinary aging in a remarkable way. This is why scientists are interested in it. Not because it will make humans immortal tomorrow, but because it shows that life is more flexible than we once believed. Cells can change identity. A body plan can reverse. A life cycle can bend backward. In the ocean, there is a tiny creature that carries a question almost too large to answer. Is aging a one-way road, or just a road we do not fully understand yet? Question 12. Why do humans love mystery? Why do we click on strange stories? Why do we watch documentaries about lost cities, dangerous places, ancient creatures, and unexplained events? Why do we feel pulled toward the unknown? Because the human brain is built to ask questions. For early humans, curiosity was not entertainment. It was survival. What made that sound in the forest? Which plant is safe to eat? Where does the river lead? Why did the sky change? The curious survived by learning more, and today that ancient instinct is still inside us. A mystery creates tension. A question creates an open loop in the mind, and the brain wants to close that loop. That is why a good question can be more powerful than a statement. If I say, a lake can be dangerous, you may listen. But if I ask, how can a silent lake kill an entire village? Your mind stops. It wants the answer. That is the secret power of why. It opens a door. And once the door is open, we want to walk through. Ending. The world is not ordinary. It only feels ordinary because we stop asking questions. A lake can hide invisible death. A volcano can create lightning. Ice can sound like thunder. The ocean can glow in darkness. Life can survive without sunlight. And the human mind can build entire worlds while we sleep. So the next time you see something simple, a lake, a cloud, a dream, a flash of light in the sky, ask yourself one question. Why? Because behind that one small word, there may be an entire universe waiting to be discovered. This has been 10,000 Why Questions. If you enjoyed this journey, stay curious, because the next question may be even stranger.